is a French bottle movie. That might be, well, what's a bottle movie? So a bottle movie, you might have seen some of these types of films before. Bottle film is essentially, it's a film that takes place in one location and it stays there. We don't really veer out from much of it. Like you've seen this in other films, like what's a good example? Like Buried, which takes place entirely within a coffin. Other stuff like 127 Hours, where a guy's trapped in a canyon. So yeah, basically a bottle film. So the whole idea is that there's this woman who wakes up in a cryogenic chamber. It's fairly small. She can move around a bit. It's not quite like a coffin, I guess. Like she can move about a bit. She can look around, but she wakes up in this cryogenic chamber, and she has no memory of how she got there. She has very vague glimpses of her past, so she's not quite sure how she got there. And the worst part is, she's awakened to realize that she is running out of oxygen. So she's frantically trying to figure out a way to, how did I get here? What's going on? How do I get the oxygen? I need it quick. And all she has to go on is the computer that's kind of helping her and kind of not helping her. The computer is referred to as Milo, and Milo can't really tell her much of anything. It feels like she's involved in a very secret project, and that she can't really talk to anyone else. So she's trying to find a way to get either out of this tube or trying to find a way to get more oxygen, and basically Milo is not playing ball. Milo is trying to give her sedatives. Milo is trying to convince her to go back to sleep. Milo is being very cautious about giving her this information. It feels like she's locked out of a lot of stuff. Eventually she gets through to like an outside line where she can like call people so they can try to figure out where she is and try to figure out what's happening to her. But at the same time, she doesn't trust them because it feels like nobody's telling her the truth about where she is right now, and more importantly, who she is. Like, she has glimpses of like seeing stuff in a lab, and that she had a husband and that she had a mother. She has all these vague memories, but she's not quite sure where they're coming from, and more importantly, nobody is telling her anything about what's going on. And at the same time, she's losing oxygen, so she's questioning her own sanity about, how much oxygen is getting to her brain and if she can survive this whole ordeal. Now, I won't spoil it. Like, you might, although if you think about it, you might be able to guess, like, the twist that's going on here about halfway through. But I do like the way it kind of, like, slowly reveals itself and kind of, like, introduces a few moments of tension throughout and builds it up. Like, there are several moments where the oxygen's getting really low, and Milo's just saying, like, look, I can't let this go on, so I'm just gonna, like, straight up just, like, give you, like, a lethal injection to help you. And so this woman is frantically trying to, like, pull out all the tubes to make sure that nothing will get to her. She's trying to stop this robotic arm from trying to give her an injection. So there's a lot of tension that goes on in this very small environment here. And the woman is played by, and I know I'm going to mispronounce it because of French names, Melanie Laurent. And she has this great mix of, like, desperation and rage to her, where, like, she's terrified that she's in this box about to die. Like, there's several moments where, like, you feel like she's supposed to keep her cool, but, like, you have no idea where you are, and you're in this, like, basically a coffin about to die, and you have no idea what's happening on the outside, whether you're buried underground, whether you're stuck in some lab, whether, you're supposed to be there, or whether someone misplaced you. All these fearful ideas that just kind of, like, just keep coursing through her mind and trying to figure out, who am I, and what did I do to be in this state? It kind of ends on, like, a bittersweet note to try to, I guess to make it feel like, like there was a little bit more purpose to it, which I kind of admit is okay. But it's tough to kind of, like, recommend this film, for those who aren't, like, big into bottle films, because a lot of people will probably just be watching this. Some people will probably watch this film and just say, like, oh, why doesn't she just, do this and such, rather than just let, like, the tension, like, build up as it does and have her make these discoveries on her own. Like, because the last thing you want to be is that one person who just goes into a horror film and says, like, I would do such and such and such. If you were a person who basically had no memory, so I'm assuming she has no recollection of, like, sci-fi and horror films and bottle films, to fully comprehend this. It's perfectly understandable to have this kind of like emotional and fearful reaction to be in this intense situation. So it builds up beautifully. There's a lot of like special effects here, not just from like the robot, like the robot system that gives her all this information and tries to attack her throughout. There's like some surprising blood here and there. It attempts at like violence here, and some genuine surprises once more of the story is revealed. That a lot of times like it does save a lot of its special effects for the end, which actually look quite good. I gotta admit it. It's not a perfect film. I feel like in some aspects it kind of meanders in basically what this character is trying to do, and basically her connection with Milo. Like there are moments where she's angry and just horrified by this monster, and other times where she's kind of cheekily questioning the logic of Milo. Like at several points, like she stops Milo from giving her a lethal injection, but then notices that Milo will offer her a sedative. So there's this whole questioning of like the ethics of Milo, which I almost like. I don't want to rewrite the story, but I almost feel like there's a whole other story in here with her questioning Milo as a robotic consciousness and how a robot can relate to the human, basically like the human idea of like ethics and fear. But that really doesn't get too much explored, because the film really does have like this tunnel vision for solving the mystery of who this woman is, where she is, and how she can get more oxygen. Which, to that degree, I kind of like the film for like its laser focus on this, because it does really keep the mystery and the tension brimming throughout. And a lot of the hallucinations that she experiences, which kind of had some truth to them about her past, are kind of interesting. So I really admire, as a bottle film, I feel like it's one of the stronger bottle films I've seen. Like a lot of films feel like that they have to like kind of find like some dead areas to explore here, and it feels like there rarely feels like a moment where they're just kind of just not finding much to do with this character in her situation. Like, I mean, it's especially since you have like that ticking clock going throughout. It bubbles so beautifully as a sci-fi bottle film that I actually really adored this film.